All right, looks like we worked out our technical difficulties. I want to bring back in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar. And Michael, I just got to say, going back to the point I was making earlier, I enjoyed his opening statement. And again, I just thought he weaved a very nice story for the jury, which I think is really the best you can do in an opening statement.
He won the case with his closing argument. He really brought it home. He brought it home for me, and I'm just baffled when I see these fact patterns and these situations. It was almost like this was like lobbed up for this prosecutor for him to have his courtroom moment. It was done by this defendant. He's innocent until proven guilty, but I think I've personally been convinced that he's guilty of this based on what I've seen and the way the prosecutor has laid it out. I almost want to have a billboard around the entire country telling people, if you're going to commit murder, don't Google the technical details on how to do it. It baffles my mind. We see case after case after case, and this is not a dummy. This is a dentist, a doctor. It boggles my mind, but it kind of doesn't boggle my mind because me as an attorney, Michael, I counsel people all the time. Now that I'm thinking about it, I just had an epiphany as I watched this closing statement. I've counseled many business leaders, successful people, doctors, lawyers, when they're looking into a divorce and their mind just boggles. There's something that happens, because I've never been through, but what I've noticed is something happens in their mind when they're entertaining a divorce, and they come up with these outlandish, crazy, dumb ideas. And I counsel them, hey, listen, don't do this, don't do that. Well, she's going to take my money. Just get a divorce. I can't just get a divorce because she's going to take this. So what? She's entitled to have. Who cares? Move on. Your peace of mind is worth it. And I think that this person, if he in fact did what they're alleging he did, I think this guy went to the dark side. I think he just could not do the right thing, which is just divorce his wife and give her half. Give her all of it. You're a doctor. You're a dentist. There's no price of your freedom and having the person that you were married to still be alive. Who cares? She's going to have a difficult life anyway, just like you. And so that's what happened. So I think this prosecutor wove it for me. I think he got me over the burden of premeditated murder.
And you know what's interesting is that we talked a lot about unlikability and how, remember in the Monica Sementilli case, you were talking about how much they wanted this jury not to like her. I think this is that kind of case as well, because the things that this guy is doing, it's just mind-boggling. It's like, why are you in this relationship and all you want to do is run around on these apps and talk to all these... I mean, this guy is a not likable guy. The things he's doing, not likable. I think that's a big part of the case as well.
I'm glad you brought that up, because what I said about her, I'll say about him. She was the most unsettled defendant in the history of unsettled defendants. This guy is part two of Monica Sementilli. He's so unsubtle. It is unbelievable. And again, I know where this is coming from. When people are looking into a divorce and they have money, they have assets, they go crazy. They go nuts. They go a poor person having a divorce would not have this. I don't remember a single time when a poor person is getting a divorce and they arson, they poison. You have to have the means. Like they just don't do it. Hey, they have nothing coming into the marriage, nothing going out. People who have wealth and have money, there's another gear in the human mind that just takes over and turns you into worse than a monster, just a self-destructive, Shakespearean figure. If in fact he did this, it has to do with the fact that they have assets and money and resources, and he went to a side that a human being should not go to.
Yeah, and Mike, like the Bible says, it's not money that's the root of all evil. It's the love of money. That's the problem in so many of these cases. So many of these cases. All right, Mike, stand by. I do have to take a break. All right, folks, before we head back to court, I want to bring back in National Trial Attorney Michael Jaafar. Michael, quickly, I want to talk a little bit about it seems the direction that the defense is going in. And, one of the places they're going, it seems, is going to the motive. Now, again, we know prosecutors don't have to prove motive, but going after it makes sense in this case, because she's basically saying they outlined a few things that were the causes or motive of this thing that he wanted out of the marriage. They're saying, well, the marriage wasn't great, but it was doing okay. Money was a problem. He wanted more of it, but they're saying no. He had some good months. He was doing okay. Third, his image. Now, she didn't get to that yet, but I imagine I'm going to say, well, his image was fine. He wasn't so worried about that. That's not a motive for murder. This stuff had been going on for years. Why suddenly did he decide to kill her? What do you make of their argument so far?
Their argument so far is going down the right point, but here's where they hit their pay dirt, and here's what the jury are going to be on the edge of their seat watching. It's the same thing we're on the edge of our seat watching for, which is what about the Google searches and why did he buy potassium cyanide and arsenic? Why did his office manager report it? Why did his partner report it? What was the point of him doing that? It had no place at a dental clinic. That's what they're going to be watching for. So I think his attorney, starting with the fact that, hey, they had $1 million house paid off, no collectors, no bills, nothing. You know, they're starting there because they want to just kind of discard the small arguments and focus, get ready for the big argument. I want to see how she explains the arsenic purchases and the potassium cyanide purchases. Once she gets to that point, once she explains it, then at that point, we've got a fight on our hands and the jury has something to consider. Until then, it's kind of like, you know, hey, he made protein shakes for her. They're connecting the dots of the protein shakes and the exercises and her being dizzy with him buying all these things that really coincide with him trying to kill her. So I want to see how she gets from where she's starting to where she needs to finish.
Yeah, and again, she's going after the low-hanging fruit right now. Totally agree with that. And, you know, she could try to explain the idea that there was this pact between the two of them, that he was trying to help her commit suicide. But the thing that flies in the face of that, and we see this so many times in these cases, Mike, it's the cover-up. If in fact he's trying to help her in some way with this assisted suicide, why is he going through all those pains afterwards to get inmates to perhaps do a hit on the investigative officer, or try to get their girlfriends to say they knew her and say that she was suicidal, or getting his own daughter to get rid of his computer? Why is he going through all that? It's the cover-up that gets you half the time, Mike.
Yeah, I agree. And Occam's razor is a principle of logic that says the explanation that requires the least amount of assumptions is usually the proper story, right? What requires you to make more assumptions? That him and his wife have this pact for her to commit suicide, and he's helping her little by little, and everybody else around him is witnessing it and even calling the police, or that he was trying to kill her to get access to even more money and live his life free and clear. That's the story that's going to have the least amount of assumptions, almost no assumptions for the second version. And so I just don't think the jury's going to buy it. He damned himself with his conduct.
Yeah, like the prosecutor said, she's going to have a pact for suicide, but suicide in a very painful and overtime way just doesn't make any sense at all. All right, Mike, stand by. I want to get folks back to more of the defense's closing argument in the poison shake murder trial.